Hi everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Endless Celts Podcast. Hope you're all who's listening. I'm joined by my deadly duo partner Francis. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good, Stephen. It's a bit disappointing what we're going to be talking about, I guess, but we're here and Andrew's appeared like magic. He wasn't here 2 minutes ago.
You have to do. And we're also joined by Andrew Durning from ThatMentalGingerShow. There was rumours going about, Andrew, you were going to join us tonight. What happened, buddy?
Oh, I'll tell you, man, that was tighter than transfer deadline day, trying to put my kids to bed, I'll tell you. Well, I failed miserably. They are still up the stairs, currently jumping about like crack addicts. Well, so if you do hear any jumping up and down, I apologise. The wife may come in as well because I've got her dinner on. She does a back shift, so she finishes and comes in at this time. Well, so she may be going, "Where's my dinner?"
So we went as our first domestic on the show.
Hey. Then I'll get the glasses on, like the Stevie Wonder glasses, like just cover my black eyes.
I love it.
Thanks for asking me on, guys. Been too long since I've been on and caused my usual amount of chaos. And because she's alive, what could possibly go wrong with me on?
What could possibly go wrong? And just to get involved in the comments again, Jed, evening to you. Martin, evening regular listener. Yeah. Anthony Dunn, Pink Velvet, evening. James is in, and Tim Alloy. So it's good to have you all watching and listening along with us. And we'll just start with what we have to talk about, Francis, and that's the form at the minute. We took our European hangover into Easter Road. I know there's a lot of myths and mythical things about European hangovers, but at Easter Road, they're kind of just epitomised at the moment where we are as a club and what way we're playing. It seems to be on, I wouldn't say the decline, but there's definitely a loss of form somewhere along the lines. And obviously, as we always do, brief summary of the game. How did you feel?
Yeah, it was, like you say, Stephen, that form hasn't been great for a few games. Some of them, like the Dundee United game, I've heard some folks saying we've not played good for about 5 or 6 games, but I think like the Raith Rovers game alone, I've never seen it, so it's one of them. Have I got a fair opinion on it? But I don't think many teams play bad and win a game 4-0. I'm not saying we played us brilliant, but you don't play bad and win games 4-0. The Dundee United game, I thought we played okay. We only got the 1-0 win, but yeah, Sunday it was just it felt like one of the games early on where you just thought we weren't really creating any clear-cut chances. The only one I can think of in mind is the Abada one where the keeper makes a decent save. I don't really think Abada does much wrong, in fairness to him. You could maybe argue he should try and lift it, but again, I don't think he's done really a lot wrong with the effort. So it has been coming with the form we've showed that a 0-0 or a draw. I never thought we'd look like losing the game. The stats that the stat man will point that out that Hibs had 2 shots and not one was on target. So we were never under pressure. So maybe Postecoglou maybe could have changed it up and maybe got an extra midfielder on or an attacking minded player to try something or switch the sort of front three about. But yeah, it was just, I think it showed that we missed Giakoumakis on Sunday. It was not to dig my head out, but there was a lot of cross balls going in that just it doesn't look like it's his game to, and he's not got to win Mets much duels against Ryan Porteous and things like that. Like Porteous is just it's bread and butter for him, that type of. So yeah, as a performance it has been coming, Stephen, but like I said, it's a form, and it's that old saying that form's temporary and class is permanent. So you've just got to hope that the team kick on. It was maybe a wake up call for them, and like we said, it's the team clearly believe they are the best team in the league. Giakoumakis' comments will alludes to that. He's came out and said how he feels. So it's time for the team to prove these comments and prove going in what they believe and go and prove that they have got the capability of winning what they believe they should be winning. So fingers crossed, Stephen.
100%. I love the way Francis always puts a positive spin on things.
We'll try. It's me and Williams' thing. It's me and Williams' go-to thing.
Yeah, you and William have that on point. But look, Andrew, me and my grandfather, I watch it with my granddad as always, and we looked at each other. I think very early on in the game, we're like, this is going to be one of them days, and I think it does turn out to be like that. Yes, we had all the possession shots. We only had 3 on target, Francis, which isn't actually quite brilliant, to be fair. The game finished nil each, albeit yes, we were on top of Hibs, but again, that's up to us to break it down. And it's just like Francis did. How did you feel with the game? I do feel like there is a slump. There is not a performance issue, but you see Jada, he's kind of went off the boil a bit. Abada as well. He's kind of went back into himself. I hope that doesn't remain for the long term.
Well, I can answer your question with another question. There was a game on Sunday.
Yeah,
that basically summed it up. You could have blinked and you'd miss it. They wouldn't have hit water if they fell out of a boat. That's how it was. Shots on target. I would have been surprised if we actually had any. It was just one of those ones that could have been playing for the full day and probably nothing would have went in. But the European hangover is evident, as we can touch on for another team that also suffered a nice European hangover, which bailed us out. So that's my positive spin on it. But yeah, it's like you said, it's become for a while. The form has been not that consistent, and I've been on before and talked about how this team are still learning, they're still developing, and a lot of people were saying, but we can challenge for the league. We could win the league. Of course, anybody can win the league. That's the whole point of football. That's why we all follow it. But you've got to back it up, and you've got to put in the performances. Like your away game at Easter Road. That's a tough slog, even when there isn't a European hangover. Especially when now they've got Maloney as manager. He wasn't just rated by Belgium for nothing, you know.
Yep.
He's clearly got a bit of skill about him. Yes, they've had a wee bit of off-field problems with some of the headlines in the papers and stuff, but the Giakoumakis thing, I think it's really going to bite us in the backside. It's
you think so?
Yeah, he's came out and he's laid out his stall, saying, yes, we are the best team in the league. That's going to light a fire up everybody's backside to go, all right, well, let's prove he's wrong. Let's just show you what we're made of. It was very similar of when we're going, we're going to get the 10. The mindset just changes at that point, and they go, right, the game just ups a little bit. The level goes up. They've all got that kind of thing. Let's just go and blast this guy. Ian McIntosh, I definitely agree. We have been flat the last few games. This is my first time doing live. I'm just really chuffed with getting to see it. But no, I totally... the second I seen that, I was like, no, don't make that comment, because we know what's going to happen. It's going to be on every billboard. It's going to be in every it's going to be in every dressing room. Everybody's going to have it pinned up. I guarantee the next Old Firm game, that's going to be that's going to be like the main team talk. That's going to be there. That's the Sparta moment. I'm just hoping that, like the Spartans, they fall.
They've already got an embarrassing pinned up in the dressing room. Didn't need to do that, I think actually makes a good point with Jack. Normally I don't like it, but I think with just this day and age of football players, it's all the stupid, straightforward answers, and that. I loved it when the guy's just off the back of a hat-trick. I loved it, but I totally understand what Andrew's saying. It may get up. It should get up. Teams go if they're going. If there's Giakoumakis is coming out and saying we're the best team in the league, we believe it. It's on the other teams to go, well, we'll show you he's on. So I do understand what Andrew said, but I did like it. It shows the confidence within the team. But like I said, it's the team need to prove that on the part now.
I think it kind of reminds me of the time. I can't remember which player said it for them across the city.
Yelovich.
But was it Yelovich?
Yelovich did say something, and then they lost the league. Rangers.
Yeah, so I mean, it can show confidence, but then also, as Andrew rightly said, it can show a wee bit of arrogance. It doesn't need to come across right now from Celtic. We could just keep our stall in house, do it from there. But look, there's a lot of comments coming through again. Anthony Dunn, hopefully that's our Livy performance out of our system. Martin Kay wants Carmoko to belly get some more game time. I definitely agree with that. John's come in and said it'd be a travesty if we lost him, and then. What's this? McGregor should win us the league. Alan McGregor,
he was horrendous at the weekend.
Let's look at the team, right? So the lineup, all the big hitters come back, and obviously Jada came back in. Abada was in, and the player that I seem to be on social media talking about the most is Tom Rudzik, and it seems like to me, Francis, he seems to be a wee bit off the pace. Now I'm not saying he's absolutely disastrous, but he doesn't seem to be his usual self the way he was in the Glasgow Derby game and a couple of games after that. I don't know whether there's a fitness issue. I saw him kind of clutch his thigh a few times when he was playing in the first half, especially against Hibs. But what do you think about him at the minute?
Yeah, I think you're bang on, Stephen. It's since sort of for the Motherwell game where he was frightening that day. He hasn't been up to his usual standards. It may the season may be taking its toll a wee bit. Maybe it does need a wee bit of break. But in fairness, obviously Riley came in. gave us that option to rotate it. But I'm not saying O'Reilly's form slump, but he was maybe riding a wee wave of sort of adrenaline coming out in your club, and his performance dropped slightly below. I mean, the guy was frightening, so it dropped to below what had seen from him. But yeah, Rogic has of late, like I thought on Sunday, he was taking the ball well and doing what Rogic does and turning, getting away from it, but it was his passing that was really, really disappointing. And I don't remember him really having any major impact in the game. And then when O'Reilly came on, you seen like a noticeable difference. You could obviously counter that by saying you've seen that with Hatate and Rogic, they were getting man marked very well, but it's kind of on Celtic to try and just bypass them and maybe play through them, and maybe then that'll create the space because they have players that are falling them, or maybe need to drop deeper and that opens up the space. But yeah, definitely Rogic hasn't been up to his usual standard as of late. Someone's just checking.
It's coming, guys. It's coming. Like she's in.
I'm
slyly type. I am listening. I'm slyly typing a message to say your dinner is ready. Off.
Continue, Franley. Let's go. What we said.
But yeah, I definitely have to agree that Rogic's form hasn't been great over the last 2 games, and it's like you said, you could label that for a lot of your top players, like touched on Jota and stuff as well. So I think we're just suffering a wee bit of too many of the big players not performing to the level that we know they can right now.
Yeah, 100%. And bringing the comments back in again, James Hislop, Rogic has been missing for 2 or 3 games. Totally agree with that. Now, this is another issue for me, Andrew. Jed Thomas makes a great point. The whole team passing, it was very poor, especially the last 2 games, the European game away at Bodo Glimt and even the home leg against them and in Easter Road. There seems to be like a sloppiness in the play. Obviously, Rogic plays a part in that because he's probably our linchpin in midfield who creates the most, apart from O'Reilly, who's just come in. And as Francis rightly said, he's probably running off adrenaline. That's wore off, and he's going to take more time to bed into the team. Then you look at the wide players, Yada and Abada. The link-up play, do you not think this seems to be off at the minute?
It does, yeah. Well, to me, it has the same ringings of when we got all the players in the summer transfer window at the start of the season. It seems like we've went back to that kind of disjointed way. I don't know, maybe it's just the new players are still finding that kind of the Celtic rhythm that we're doing, or maybe it's because of the injuries that we've got, with Furuhashi being out. I'm not sure where it's came from, but there has been a real kind of a disconnect with the style of play, really since the Old Firm. It's like they went, right, we've scored all our goals here and that's it. And now we don't have any more. It's like they dried up. I know we've had our squeaky bum time moment against Dundee United or the 3-2 match, and as Francis alluded to, we had the Wraith Rovers result, but again, it's not exactly a yardstick we really can measure sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is no disrespect to Wraith Rovers in the slightest. It's just we know what it's like sometimes. A slightly lower level, there will be more goals, or you should expect more goals.
Yeah.
But I think it's just they gorged themselves in those 3-0s and 4-0s, and since then it's just been up and down.
Yeah.
And I think the European run, like Bodo Glimt, I think a bit of complacency kicked in. I think they thought, it's a Norwegian team no one's really heard of. But if you've done your homework, they've got a very good style of play, very slick, very quick, and they've exposed the faults that are actually in Postecoglou's system. If you play 100%. Him at his own game, there isn't really a plan B. But as Alice was saying, the team just need a wee rocket up the backside. And then get it.
And also as well, Alistair's calling me out. He's going, we've just dropped 2 points since we got back. So Chelsea, Alistair, if you've been watching this podcast for a long time, I know you have, buddy. This is the way I react. I'm very off the cuff. I'm very passionate. Do you know what I mean? I'm very infused. I want to see Celtic do well, and dropping points for me in a league setting at the minute. We shouldn't be doing it. It doesn't matter who we're playing against.
We're wearing your heart on your sleeve, buddy.
100%. I want to bring someone.
It's just that time of the season now where a draw's a disaster, really, isn't it, Stephen?
Exactly, yeah. And Ian McIntosh comes in. Oh, where is it? It's worrying. We need to regroup and go again. Michael McIntyre. No, Michael McIntyre. What am I thinking?
Michael McIntyre. Whoa, that was
interesting. Michael McDonald. Does anybody think McCarthy can do a job for us? Now, obviously, when we're talking about midfield, right? We've seen Beaton come in, and he didn't do quite well. Bodo Glimt. I'm not a big fan of McCarthy. I still don't understand why he got a 4-year deal at 31 years old, injury prone. Literally a bit reminiscent of the Mr. Wheels worldwide signing across the city.
It's not as bad.
No, but you know where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I mean, on Michael's point, do you think you can see him playing a role towards the end of the season, Francis?
Yeah, but I don't know if Michael's maybe expecting him to come in from the start and start a few games. I don't think he's got to be that type of player, but you never know. He has got that well. He's got experience of playing at the top level, and he's a seasoned pro and stuff. Like you say, Stephen, it's but just for me, he's not done enough to warrant coming in and playing. I would play Beaton before him, and I don't see, for what I've seen in McCarthy, a lot of that is based around the way how good our midfield has played the majority of the season, and guys like Beaton that have come in. I thought McCarthy's been better coming in when we need to see it a game. You can really see he likes getting the boot in. He will fight for the team, and he knows he can play. His ball retention is really good and stuff. But I don't see how McCarthy coming in could be seen as the answer.
I mean, I think in a roundabout way, Andrew, Michael's asking, is he going to be a passenger or is he going to take part? What do you think?
Well, passenger.
Passenger.
If he has
definitely
nice one. Nice one.
So no shot, but he's at the Modders game as well.
Yeah.
Wait. He's still there?
Oh,
Right, we're not turning this into a Wales podcast. Let's go, Andrew.
I'm only joking. I'm just jesting. But I do think that everybody in the team could have a part to play. That's why they're in the team. That's why they're on the bench or in the starting 11. They've got to step up and take their chances. McCarthy, you would think more than anybody else, because every podcast or any Celtic kind of fan forum or stuff that I've had the misfortune of getting abused on, has all said the same things about McCarthy. They've all said, look, why did he come? Why did he sign that contract? Why did we give him that at his age? He should be using that as one of the fans said, to light the fire up his backside. Go, I'm going to prove he's wrong. Give me a chance, and I will help drive this team forward. But he's not done it. Yeah. It just seems like he's content to sit on the bench and go, I just came up the same car with Joe Hart.
I mean, Michael comes back in here going, McIntyre have been called a lot worse. A total brain fart on my behalf there, Michael.
We should say Michael Ball or Michael Moles. That would have been a nightmare.
I think one thing we noticed, I mean, we did speak about it previously when the comment was brought up about the passing, and also, Francis, I think the pressing's been off. And you made a great point. Maeda's not going to win them balls across into the box, right? And I totally agree. So why not change up the style and pass through the middle? You're playing Rozic to find them balls through the middle. It just wasn't happening. Hibs weren't sitting back the whole game. There was opportunities, and Maeda's always on the move. And sometimes it does feel like to me, like when Kyogo first came in, the players just aren't in the same wavelength.
Yeah.
In terms of playing that killer ball. Do you think that's a side that we could improve on?
Oh, definitely. It's just one of the ones. It's a new player. You've got to try and get used to a new player, and also the team are trying to get used to a new system. I know we're 6-7 months into this, but they're still trying to get used to it. It does seem, I wouldn't say we're one-dimensional, but it is, a lot is based on get it wide, get crosses in, get it wide, get crosses in. But we're just, of late, we're not doing it quick enough. Like if you look at the Rangers and Motherwell games, Carter Vickers and Starfelt, maybe one or two passes between them, and then it was out to Jota, it was out to Abada, it was out quick. Whereas it's 3 or 4 passes now, and it's going to McGregor, then it's going out wider, it's going to Hatate, then going wide. We need to start missing out. McGregor and Hatate miss out that bit in the midfield, go wider, quicker, and then you're playing through the lines. I just don't think we're not really playing the difficult pass a lot. It seems to be, everything seems a lot bit easier, and the easier passing a wee bit slower of late. So I just think I just think we really need to just up the pace a bit, just get back to, not necessarily back to basics, but get back to the way we know. Don't be scared to lose the ball, essentially, like be trying the harder pass. I would rather you try the harder pass, because eventually it will come off. And it seems weird got to say this, considering last season all we wanted was Ryan Christie not to shoot, but I wish somebody would shoot for the box.
There's a difference between like that type of shooting and Ryan Christie's. Like some of his shots.
Yours was borderline at the weekend.
Whoa!
We even said that last season, even with Chris, like when teams are playing that sort of low block, if you do take a shot for outside the box, even if it does do what Yotta's was doing or what Christie's moved, they might get worried about the shot. One might fly in the top corner, so they might then come out. So it's just something you maybe just need to try and mix it up a wee bit.
Alistair comes back in.
We'll get Alistair. I'm reading his point now.
There you go. Fair point, Stephen, the pull your leg, but our team has a shit record at Hibs. I think it's 1 win and 9, so he has a great point there. And we have more games at home now. I totally agree, Alistair. And then James Hislop comes in with a point here. I think I'll go back to Alistair in a second. James Hislop comes in. Could we play a batter for the middle game, Alistair? Andrew, we've seen that.
I've been called worse, like Michael said.
We've seen that before the winter break, and he scored 2 goals in 3 games through the middle. Obviously, we had an injury crisis there, but he did well. But I think it's type of much of what will happen with Maid up front. There's no kind of physical presence. I mean, Giakoumakis has been in great form. That hat-trick was unbelievable. But in terms of what Francis was saying, in terms of the quick passing, it's ever since the infamous clip now of Postecoglou shouting at the team to always pass forward, that the Celtic players just seem to be taking far too many touches on the ball, and as Francis said, they're playing the safe pass all the time.
It seems like the other teams have watched that clip and went, okay, how can we stop them going forward as well? Well, it's essentially like when you play the same type of style and the same type of game, eventually teams are going to crack on to what they're trying to do, and the second one team finds a way to stop it, everybody jumps on the bandwagon. That's just seems to be what it is, and everybody knows how much I think Ange Postecoglou was what great. I set my stall out by saying I was comparing him to the Jock Stein style, but Jock Stein had his screw ups as well, and what people could figure them out sometimes. But if plan A isn't working, you need to have a plan B. You need to have a plan C and D in this league, and especially at this club, to adapt. Maybe it's just not brought in the right personnel that can do those backup plans, or maybe it's just a confidence thing right now. Like I said, which is weird to talk about. Like this time last season, we were just praying to get a point. We were playing, and like I say, Ryan Christie's shots, they've covered the hole in the ozone layer now. It's been.
And one thing I'm actually happy about, Legranda's got involved. He's learned to type on the thing. So last 3 games, scored 1 goal. Not good enough. I totally agree, Granda. I mean, the way we speak about Celtic in the house, I mean, it's unbelievable at times. But
you'll not be back round to watch the football.
when the Tim already has a good delivery to find a big man in terms of Giakoumakis, I totally agree. John, take a breath, Stephen. Don't worry, I've recovered after that. Alistair just got under the skin for some reason. Ian McIntosh, the whole team is off the pace, not just a couple of players. And every attacking corner set play, you just don't feel like we'll do anything. I totally agree with that. I really do. I can't remember that. Then you remember last time we scored from a set piece? Was it near the start of the season?
Well, I don't know if you could argue. The one that's jumping out to me is Hatate's first goal against Rangers. It wasn't direct for the corner, but was that not for a corner? Then it was headed out. Then Hatate controlled it and had it.
Yeah,
obviously the statisticians wouldn't put that down as a set piece goal, but kind of came for a corner. I'll claim it. Yeah. That's how desperate I'm right now. But I'm claiming one technically isn't one.
100%. I mean, it's a hard one. It's like people go sign bigger defenders, but then that might not suit Ange's style of play. Yeah. And I think he's already said he's not going to sign a player for the sake of it, and I totally agree with it. And it brings me on to the next point, Andrew, and it's the fact that people come out in the week and obviously knee-jerk reactions to social media, people calling out Ange, and he used one substitute from 5, which I think myself, I don't understand why he didn't utilise at least 3 of them. You could have brought on Forrest, even though he's been poor. He could have offered something in terms of experience. Carmoke in the belly, sitting there, probably fighting for a contract, or that's what he wants to say. I mean, Postecoglou said that he's only going to give players an opportunity if they want to stay at Celtic. And again, I hope Dembele and Ben Doak as well are on the same boat because he's disappeared. But what do you think of the criticism kind of laid at Ange? It's not bad criticism, but I just think it's right to call them out sometimes. I mean, it's not against the law.
No, it's not. But don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure he'd be like the Liam Neeson of football managers. He would find you and kill you. What if that was the case? Because I know I sure wouldn't what go up against him. But as much as we gave him praise, when he does things right, when he gets a call wrong, you've got to say it, and he got it wrong. Yeah. Well, like you said, with a choice of 5 substitutes, and he plays 1. Well, and most people will be like, "Wait, who was the 1? That's how bad it was." Well,
actually, who was the 1?
Exactly.
Riley for Rogic.
Riley for Rogic. Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
And I bet that you could argue it was probably forced because Rogic also had a wee bit of knock for the first half.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it was probably a forced change. And if that change wasn't forced, do you think he would have used any subs? I personally don't think so. I think he would. He seems to be the guy that if he lives by the sword, he dies by the sword.
Yeah,
which is admirable. But in modern football, it's also really stupid.
It's an interesting one, Francis. I know we have big debates all the time. You always follow it in our personal group chat with the Endless Celts Podcast, but sometimes you do have to call out. And I did see a lot of things I agree with on social media. A lot of things, again, you kind of roll your eyes at and be like, what are you talking about? But the whole kind of the 5 substitutes, whether or not they're players of quality who can make a difference in the game, doesn't matter. Freshen the legs up, do you know what I mean? You've got Dembele on there who's just got back from an injury. Throw him on for Abada. He didn't make no impact. See what these players can offer. And the likes of Ben Doak, he hasn't been nowhere to be seen since his cameo appearances in the previous games. But what's your opinion on the whole substitute situation? And obviously, when Andrew says there's no plan B, is it just a case of Postecoglou as plan A, do plan A better?
I suppose you could argue that plan A, do plan A better is technically plan B. Because you're trying to you change something up to try and do plan A better. So you could argue that that's try to do plan A better. But I'm not Postecoglou clearly is a good manager. He's won trophies wherever you go, and you don't do that regardless of leagues and things like that. You don't do that if you can only play one way and do one thing. But to go to something like why he didn't utilise the 5 subs, I honestly don't know. If you felt like you were going to potentially go to concede a goal, you could have maybe made a case for it. So we didn't really see too much on the bench that would have. What's he saying? Nonsense.
I have no idea. But that's keep going.
Yeah, I personally liked Jed's point beforehand. Like he said, the subs bench was weak. What do you think of that, Francis?
I would. Well, that's what I would agree because as much as me and Stephen and William argued in the previous podcast about Forrest when he's on the decline, it hasn't been great, but it could have been a game where we needed something to happen. It could have been the perfect game for him. We'll never know. We don't know if he would have made a difference, but it could have been one where the game was pretty flat and he comes on, makes a difference, and then he's away. That's the confidence back for him. Caramel Dembele could have done a job. Aye, that's what I just said, John.
Yeah.
No, but he's disagreeing with you saying that. He thinks there should be a plan B in place for if plan A does go wrong. I think that's what he means.
Aye, that's doing plan A better. Tell John, I'll respect your opinion when you appear back in this podcast.
But John, don't come back. I want to come back on.
I mean, he's had a medical exemption. He's been out longer than Julian at this rate.
I cannot believe you just called him out.
But Dembele could have potentially made a difference in the fact that even if he doesn't want to be at Celtic next season because he's not been getting a chance, he's got to be playing for a contract somewhere. So he could have put in a performance, games on telly, scouts and that could have been watching the game. Just never know. But I found it strange I'm not using the bench. I think Andrew made a good point about being stubborn. It does come across a kind of stubborn type of guys. He knows his philosophy. This is the way he wants to play. And maybe a wee bit of that was sending a message to players saying, look, you've got to dig me out this. I don't trust, not that I don't trust what's on the bench, but I don't believe what's on the bench is better, and go and prove me wrong, go and prove me that what I've got on the bench isn't better. But for me, we didn't look like conceding, so I don't know why he didn't try and just, even like a beat-on could have made a difference in the middle of the park, even maybe taking Taylor off and went to a back three with Juranovic, because I feel like Juranovic would have worked better in a free as opposed to Taylor. And you've just got another guy in the middle of the park to try and control it or whatever. Yeah,
100%. I think Alistair makes a great point. I'm fed up with the stick me out of gets as well. Give the boy a chance. The Tomlinson clan is out in full force. Uncle John's on now. I don't buy this plan B to do plan A better. No target man. Can't handle set pieces and take too long to get the ball for back. I totally agree with that as well. I think we do. Was
that 4 set pieces at the weekend and the goals conceded?
Yeah, and then John said you're sacked, but I'm not going to put that up. And then Tim, let's comment as well. Has Ange encountered packed defenses before, like his football brand encounters here? That would be a great point to look into. Obviously, it's Brisbane Moore in the A-League in Australia. You don't know what kind of standard of football that was. Back then, I think it was pretty poor. I think that was well documented. In Japan with Yokohama, people say the Japan League's probably better than the SPFL. I probably agree with the quality of players that come from there as well. So I don't actually know that. It'll be actually quite interesting to see. Michael McDonald comes back in. I love Ange, but sometimes he needs to be asked difficult questions, or the media's scared of him. I actually probably think they are, to be fair.
Is it scary? I think it's maybe more because he's called them out earlier and he seems to have their number. It's one of them ones.
Yeah. He doesn't take no shit.
Yeah. And I think that's maybe what this
is. If a Rottweiler bites you once, you don't plan on going near it again.
No, probably not. And before we move on to the midweek game tomorrow against St Mirren, and we're back at Paradise, I do want to touch upon the thing that was announced today by Celtic. Ange Postecoglou's homecoming, Francis, a tour of Australia or a cup tournament or whatever kind of format while the World Cup's happening. Many believe that both sides of the Glasgow derby, in terms of the city, will be involved. Me personally, I think again this is money control of football for corporation type of things, commercial markets. Obviously, making money for Celtic's key, but I don't think there's a need for this. Do you?
I don't at the time of year, but it's how many players are going to be over it. Like, I'm not saying your squad's got to be littered with players going to the World Cup, so it's maybe a good thing away. In November, it'll be the Australian sort of well, I would sack the homecoming if Rangers are involved in it. Like, we don't need to build up our sort of stature in Australia. I believe Rangers have got a decent stature in Australia because I've got Hagways, like I have my old boss, funny enough, is actually, he's emigrated over to Australia, and there is where he is anyway, there's a big Rangers club. So I wouldn't want to go over there and use Celtic to gain clout for Rangers really, and get them a bigger name. I understand Celtic going over because of Postecoglou. It's a good business move, as much as you maybe hate hearing that. It's a good business move at the time of year. So it's coming at Australian summer, so it'll be good warm weather training, as we say. And then, but I think that will happen. But again, I think a tour of Japan will happen. They'll be stupid not to do something like that. Again, money-wise, it's all about, unfortunately, football's branding now. So going to Australia, build up there, go to Japan, I think that will happen. But I just don't want to go on the tour and be playing Rangers. I don't think we should be using Celtic to increase Rangers' name and give them essentially money and stuff. That's where I don't agree with. I'm not saying I'm pro for going for it, but I understand it'll give the players that are not away on international duty, it'll be keeping them kind of ticking over and stuff like that.
I think as well, what it points to again, is obviously what I said previous, is the money side of things. I think we're all agreed. Not any chance that they get to make money, they kind of have to take the opportunity while it comes to them. Yeah. But what I don't agree with, if they're trying to boost their whole Rangers myth that everyone says the old firm, which I agree with. There's loads of comments which I will bring up the wee second. But you look at it as well, the famous tweets pop back up again. We're not half of anything. It's not our problem. I think it's something that Celtic are kind of being a bit two-faced towards. Stick to that message. There's no point going to these tournaments and involving the other club. And I think, strange enough, the doctor comes in here before I lose the comment. Sevco, should be eliminated from any commercial fencing or Celtic organised. The fan base don't recognise them as an electoral club. They tend to be, or indeed the reductive term, old firm, whatever way Scottish people pronounce that. Joe Finlay. Joe Finlay, do not get involved with boosting the old firm.
No,
100%. So I mean, and then Michael McDonald, Japan seems to want more lucrative market. John agrees with straight of the doctor. And it's one of them things, Andrew, isn't it? The money speaks, because Celtic make next to no money winning leagues and cups in Scotland. If there's a chance to exploit a market, unfortunately, we have to take opportunity, but we don't need the other club.
No, I don't think so. Well, and the other club don't want to be there. Well, as we've mentioned in previous ones, I work, sadly, with fans of that side of the divide. And when that news came out, they said they didn't want to go. Fair enough. We don't want you there either. I think it's the one thing we agree on. But I'm perfectly okay with that. But it's like you say, like money talks and bullshit walks. So you've just got to go with it sometimes. Like, I can understand it from that point of view, but don't market it as the old firm are coming to are going down under. You could see all the type of market that'll be going through their heads. No, they don't have nice one, Chad. They don't have they don't have a reason to go. Don't have a reason to go. It makes Australia and Japan make sense for us. What would make sense is for them going, if Van Bronckhorst is still there, or Van Bronckhorst as they might be called later. Go to his home patch, do a tour there. That would make sense. That would make sense for them making money on their side. Go to Wales, see Aaron Ramsey's home patch. Go and see where he's been hiding for the last couple of months. You play I know strengths. And you play the hand that you're dealt. We've got an Australian manager. We've got a good influence with Japanese players. That's where our markets are taking us. Go there.
Yeah, I mean, they
don't need to come.
Yeah, I think that's all the comments that have showed up there. I mean, we don't need them to come with us. It's a commercial market where you don't really see any value for Sevco, Rangers, Newco, whatever way you want to call them, to come along with us to do this kind of tournament thing. It doesn't make any sense. If Celtic are saying they're not half of anything, let's keep it like that. Let's keep it rolling. And then
it's like you said, bud. Like you just got to, you play the card you're dealt. They set out their stall, deal with it.
And John sums it up. Wouldn't worry about it anyway. They wouldn't have been able to afford the flights to Australia. 100% agree. And back again to domestic football action, Francis. We are facing St Mirren at Paradise. Again, another reason to kick off under the lights of Paradise. And you look at it, they've got a new manager, Stephen Robinson. I think they're really expecting a wee bit of the new manager bounce. They got trumped 2-0 in his first game back. And I think he was already complaining about refereeing decisions, which is very not unlike Stephen Robinson. But what type of game are you expecting?
I don't know, Stephen. It could be similar to what I've been witnessing the last sort of a few weeks, where it'll be kind of slow, not really playing to our full potential, but still picking up the win. And then come Friday, we'll be talking about how we've won a game and we're happy. But I'm hoping, I'll take more than hope after the wee sort of the wee fright maybe we got on Sunday. Yeah, the game later on was sort of got us away with it, I feel like. I think if anybody offered us a 3-point lead going into after Sunday's game, we would have taken it. We just didn't realise it was going to come off the back at 2 draws. But I think when you look at it, our draw looks a lot better than theirs, because they were up 2-0 at home and finished 2-2, whereas we went away from home. But I think the team will. I know Ange said after the game that he felt the team played really well and stuff, and said a lot of things that a lot of fans didn't agree with seeing it, but I believe behind closed doors would be saying a lot different. It just doesn't seem the type of man that comes out and will call out players, which I like. But I think he'll be behind closed doors. He'll be saying what he truly feels. But I'm expecting a big performance, Stephen, just to not to put this myth to bed. It's not a myth that we've been playing bad. We've not been playing our best. It's evident.
Well, it's kind of real. It's real.
It's been. We've all seen it. We've not been up to our usual standard probably since for the second half of Aberdeen. There's been indifferent performances. But I'm like Jed. I'm just expecting a big performance just to say, look, we're up for this fight. I know we've had players saying how much we believe we're going to win the league, and so I just feel we've got they'll put in a performance that says, look, we are up for this challenge. We believe we are the best team. We're going to show you we're the best team, and we're not ready to. I know we've got top, but we're not just going to sit there and be happy that we've got top and relinquish it easy. We're here for the fight. So I'm more expecting a big performance from the team.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I do get what you mean in terms of what the result they got in the weekend. But again, I don't focus on that because we need to focus on ourselves. That's where I'm coming from. We can't rely on any other team doing us favours. While it was a great result and made our result look even better than it was, Andrew, our result in the weekend against Hibs still wasn't good enough, and that was plain to see. But Jed Thomas comes in saying he's expecting a big performance. Martin Kay, similar to most teams at Celtic Park, probably parked the bus. 100% agree. Strange of the doctor. I mean, your comments are making me laugh here. Ramsey, the Celtic hero, is lighting cigars in the front of Sevco curtains with $1,000 bills by wearing his wheels top, playing COD, singing the Rebs. I mean, you can only imagine that. That's like a film, isn't it? Joe Finlay got concerns the ability of the team to enforce better tempo. If not, could be a slog. I agree with that. I think what needs to happen tomorrow in this game, Andrew, is start with a far better tempo than what we've done previously.
Yeah, we've got to come out all guns blazing. We've got to, as you say, we've got to set our stall out from the get-go. I will actually be on the optimistic side and say that, see if this result had happened, we're playing St Mirren, and if Jim Goodwin was still manager at St Mirren, I'd be more worried. Jim Goodwin seemed to have our number when it came to St Mirren results against Celtic. He seemed to have the idea of what to do and how to set the stall out. That's no disrespect to Stephen Robinson. I do think he was a great manager for Motherwell, and I think can he do a job at St Mirren? I think he can. I just hope he doesn't do it against us. But we've just, I think the new manager bounce doesn't work as well in Scottish football as it does league down south. But I think it's going to be a case of we'll hump him, basically.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm being positive. I'm setting the stall out. I think we will. Well, when we get called out like this and we lick our wounds, we normally do come out fighting. It's the Celtic way. I know that's kind of drummed in a lot, but I think we can do it. But it's up to the players to step up and use the same tactic that I was thinking. Get you Yakimakis' quote dressing room. This is what he's called out and said that we are. Prove it.
100% agree. And then Johnny comes back in. I think it'll be a big performance, but it's late. I can see it being a slog, courtesy of ourselves, which I agree with that as well. Alistair Jack comes back in, early goal. Ian McIntosh, I expect us to raise it against him. So did I, but that didn't happen. And then Strange of the Doctor, Stuzzy stuff game with loads of wasting time and overly aggressive tackles from them. 2-0 Celtic, and their new manager is old school. I totally agree that they actually paid a fee, Francis, to get Stephen Robinson from Morecambe, which is kind of strange for a Scottish club. But what about lineup and score predictions with yourself first?
Well, do we know if Yakimakis is back? I didn't know why he was out at the weekend.
He said
it was illness.
Aye, he's making the decision tomorrow, so you probably throw him in there just as a prediction.
If that's the case, I'm probably not chucking him in because I think he's more important for Livingston at the weekend. So I think I'll go Joe Hart in goals, Taylor, Starfelt, Carter Vickers, and I'll probably go Juranovic because I think I would rather Ralston at the weekend just for his crossing. So I'm probably going to go Juranovic. The midfield three, McGregor.
Good stuff there.
I know, because I think you can argue for Hatate no starting. But I would go McGregor, Hatate and O'Reilly. And then a front three, I think will just be the same as at the weekend with Abada, Maeda and Jota. And hopefully the front, I'm going to go on the side of confidence and go for a good 4-0.
I like that. Michael McDonald comes back in. I think tomorrow will be the game when Juranovic gets his 30-yard screamer. We're all hoping that, Michael. We are all hoping that. Because he seems to be getting them decisions where he wants to hit a wonder goal, but sometimes it doesn't come off for him. I hope it does soon. What about yourself, Andrew? Score and lineup prediction?
Most people that have watched me on these podcasts will normally say that I agree with whoever has just said the lineup. Why break the habit of a lifetime?
I've ever been right, and we've been doing this for over a year.
Yeah,
I've been right a few times, boys.
Yeah,
don't worry. I've been right. I'll get back to you. And that's not just on here. That's in my whole Celtic supporting career. I'm pretty much on the side of what Francis got. The only thing that I would do is I would probably put Forrest in to start.
Okay.
He always seems to play better in his home patch. I think that's probably one. Maybe Beaton. In the centre. In the centre mid.
I can understand that.
I could get that, but yeah, we'll see. It's just more. Whoever plays, they've got to turn up and they've got to put in a performance. Like if they don't, there's no point arguing the team selection because they'll all be pish.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. But I think, given the way,
because Stone Cold said so.
Is that because I shaved my head, you bastard? You do have the Stone Cold goatee rocking. Now. I can see that. I have noticed. Yes.
What's your score prediction?
3-0.
3-0. I'll go personally. I'm fairly comfortable 2-0. That's usually his one. I'll go Joe Hart, Juranovic. I'll go Starfelt. I'll go Carter Vickers. Straight on the doctor. Julian, question mark.
He wasn't even on the bench on Sunday.
Nah, 100%. And then John comes in. Julian and Carmoko to start. That's a good shout as well. I'd like to see more Carmoko. 2 each tomorrow. Oh, 2 for Jala and 2 for Abala. Boom, boom. Love it. And then I'll go Taylor left back. I'll go McGregor sitting as he always does. I'll say Hatate because although he's dropped off form, he still gives us all. There's a bit of work ethic there. I'll go O'Reilly. I'll give Rodzik a wee break. I'll just go Abada and I'll go Mieta and Jala because I can't really see him throwing Carmoko in. I know as much as I love to see it, and John rightly said there he'd like to see it. I just don't think from the start he would risk that at the moment. I mean, if he doesn't bring him on from the bench, what's the likelihood of him throwing him in the starting 11? Do you know what I mean? At this precise moment anyway. But for my score prediction, I'll go just a comfortable 2-0. A Francis Carty 2-0. I'll take that all day to get us back on track again. Guys, that's not the end of the show, by the way. There's a squad numbers quiz. I like these squad numbers. So
don't worry. If you've watched them recent, Andrew, just shout out a number, you'll likely get it right because I'm day.
Johnny Tomlinson, I'll go 2-1 Celtic because Hearts likes to flap a bit. Hearts are a bit iffy at the minute.
Shots fired.
Bit iffy. So it is. People, hold on, Joe Finley come back in here. People keep talking about Carmoko. Is he good enough? Is not getting the stuff. So
then I get John started, Joe. We'll
be here all day, Joe. We're here all day. But again, this is just an easy squad, bit of fun. End the show, guys. You know the drill. Whoever gets the free first, and we'll fire in. Right? Start nice and easy. You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
And get involved in the comments. Get involved because I'd like to see who gets these right. Virgil van Dijk.
4.
No.
Go.
Nice and easy.
Andrew.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, man. Is it 21?
3, 2, no, 5.
Oh, man.
Patrick Roberts.
7.
Yep, Franny 1-0.
Could have technically gave 2 because I think it was 18.
28. It was 28, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
7.
I know that was a trick one because I was trying to think: is it first season or second season?
I didn't give you.
Nah, I'm not.
He's ready.
I'm not playing that one. You got me fair and square.
Are you ready? Here, I got done out of that quiz, Andrew. So don't be going there.
I'm glad you've got it, Stephen. It's been about 7 years.
It's 1-0 to Franny. Andreas Tom.
10.
2-0 Franny.
I mean, technically. Was it 10? Because was that not like when you just went 1
He was
11?
10. It's on my list. He was 10. So Stan is 10.
I'm sure that was he was there when it was teams 1 to 11.
Yeah.
Proper numbers.
Are you ready? Mark Crosas.
13.
11.
No. One more guess each. Come on.
18.
What, Andrew?
15.
No, I guess it.
No, both wrong.
Right.
Still 2-0.
What was it?
Ki Sung Young.
18.
Yep,
Yeah,
18. 3-0.
yeah,
What was Mark
that one.
Rosas? But what was Mark Rosas?
Mark Rosas was 17. So you were close at the
17?
start.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised Yuri Jarosic's never. It's a perfect opportunity to bring up Jarosic.
I'm bringing him up one day. Don't worry. He shot me down there. Another thing. Go on.
You were well beat, Stephen.
Strains of the Doctor 18. Yeah. I mean, I must say again, I'm loving the comments coming in. Do you know what I mean? It's unbelievable. It's really good to see the interaction coming through, and it's great to get involved. Andrew, your first time on the live with us. How'd you find it?
I was shitting myself, to be honest. I know.
Was that for the show or for your partner coming in?
Both. Probably more my partner coming in. Like I saw her in the background, like coming to get her dinner, and I was like, "Oh God, I am gonna die."
Please like it.
Yeah, I'm sleeping on the couch tonight anyway. I've accepted my fate.
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly,
Did you enjoy it? But
exactly, Martin.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know why I was so nervous though, because when
we were nervous because you didn't turn up.
It was literally like the ball hair measurement, because it was just as the intro came up, what it said you're in the show, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen. Well, I wonder if they're here yet. And they're like I seen that it was just like, see if you just had that weekend. It was like, he's here, right?
And Franny, my Deadly Joe partner again. Another great show, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's good laughing. It's always good to hear Andrew on. He's up for a good laugh, and that's all we want here.
100%.
We're not here to take ourselves seriously. We're just gaining our opinion.
Definitely not, man. I just love actually getting to speak to fellow Celtic fans when you're stuck in a day job. When you're stuck in a day job and it's all Rangers fans, like it's like you're this territory. You're just
I'm in a similar position, by the way. Although I have got a Jambo in the office who is absolutely brilliant at winding up one of the Rangers fans in the office.
So. Guys who are watching this along, Martin K sums it up. Like and subscribe. We're growing.
Just
like it, subscribe to it.
Yeah.
We're live. It's brilliant, the interaction, and also to point your direction to episode 100. I mean, we've been building it up, and it's going to be a great episode. Our Mr. Pink Velvet, he said Green Velvet's going to be coming out, so we'll see if that happens. Anthony Dunn is going to be hosting a Scottish Cup extravaganza, quizzes, the lot, drinks, the lot, laughs, everything. It's going to be fantastic. Get involved, and people are still coming in here. Pancake tonight, fellas. I had pancakes there. Absolutely gorgeous. Where's Andrew?
Funny pancakes.
Strange of the Doctor.
I'm from here, you bastard. but I moved to Coatbridge. I don't know if that's what I'm posting about.
But guys, until we speak again, stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.